What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the DFS Picks and Predictions Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, MMA Monk, and Gordo break down the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio so not miss out on all the other content throughout the week. And as always, guys, we're going through our fight to target, our fight to fade, our fighter to fade, favorite dog, favorite GPP play, favorite cash play, favorite value play, favorite dart throw. We'll give our lineups for this week. We'll talk about how we did last week. We'll answer any questions you guys have at the end, and then we'll head out of here. So should be a very fun show. Great card. UFC 276, Cannonier, Adesanya. Should be fun. Weezy, what is up? You looking forward to this card?
Definitely. From top to bottom, so many great fights, so many like all-timers, fights that are on an undercard that would be co-main events on a lot of these fight night cards that we've had recently. So, And I was putting together lineups. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of fights I like both sides of. I could just see having a ton of fun putting together a bunch of lineups this week. I can't wait to break it down.
Heck yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We got Gordo. Gordo, what is up? You looking forward to the card?
Oh, definitely. If you know me, I'm a little bit of a Holloway fanboy, so nothing like a Holloway fight night for me. You throw in being able to watch tape on him, Sugar Sean O'Malley. I mean, there's a bunch of fun guys. All the Pereira fights you get to watch, Strickland fight. It's just an absolutely beautiful card, and I'm so happy to break it down with you guys. I maybe we'll disagree on some, maybe we won't. I don't know, but I know that definitely I got my research done, my research ready, and I'm ready to make some money on it.
Let's go. And last but not least, we have Monk. Monk, what is up? You looking forward to this week?
What's up, fellas? Absolutely, like the other two boys said, it's going to be a fantastic week with some great fights. To speak on that tape study that Gordo's doing, this is also the week you get to watch Jessica I tape, and you get to watch her get kicked in the head by Valentina Shevchenko. So what else could you possibly want? I'm super excited for this card. Let's get into it.
100%. So I say we start, as always, with our fight to target, and I will kick us off here. We have Alexander Volkanovski. Max Holloway is going to be my fight to target. And I like both guys here quite a bit. And in terms of cash, we'll talk about our lineups towards the end. But I think you'd be making a big mistake if you did not stack this fight in cash. Volkanovski, 9,000. I mean, that seems way too cheap considering the upside that he brings. I think he averaged like 98.5 between the first and second Max Holloway fight. But he lands 6.63 significant strikes per minute. If anybody's going for takedowns, it's probably Volkanovski here. So I really like the upside, the safety of Volkanovski, especially in cash games. Then you have Max Holloway. This guy's landing 7.38 significant strikes per minute. I love his floor and his ceiling. If he wins, he puts up a really big score. And if he wins the fight, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be in the optimal lineup. So, like both sides here, and then just pretty obvious stack and cash for me. Weezy, what is your favorite fight to target for UFC 276?
I'm going with Brad Riddell versus Jalin Turner, just as much because I want to watch this fight and I can't wait to see it as the numbers behind it indicating that it's going to be a great fight to target. Jalin Turner thus far is scoring 4.63 Draftkings points a minute, and Riddell is scoring 3.18. They're both allowing over 3 Draftkings points a minute as well, so this should be a high-scoring fight. This is the third most likely fight to finish inside the distance, according to Vegas. Should be an absolute slobber knocker. And the fact that the salaries are $8,400 and $7,800 makes it so much easier to fit some of these high-priced fighters that you want in your lineup. In addition to that, I could see some grappling upside for both guys, too. Neither one of them defends takedowns particularly well, and they both get them multiple times and get a lot of control time when they do get the takedowns. So I think whether it's on the feet, whether it's on the ground, hopefully there's some scrambling. Should be a really high-scoring fight. And if you got the right side winning this fight, they're probably going to be optimal.
Absolutely. That was one of my options as well. I'm right there with you. Weezy, we have Gordo. Gordo, what is your favorite fight to target? And also, what is the reasoning behind the hat?
Oh, it's Lou, man. And Lou makes me do some crazy things. If you guys didn't see last week, and I was on the show with Liam, and we all brought out the hats. And we had a nice winning week, all of us. So I got to bring it back out. I need all the mojo I can get on this show, man. Come on, like I'm on a losing streak here against you guys. We'll get it later. So this hat better win me some money. But no, you guys killed it. Riddell Turner, that is my favorite fight to target. But let's get different here. Let's take the square, biggest, widest line fight not to go to decision. I'll take the Munhoz Hall as my fight to target this weekend. And it's purely just based on stylistic matchups, a striker versus grappler. We all know Munhoz is going to go out there and try to break some arms. He's very good at it. He's very good at what he does. And his win condition scores very well. a large majority of my ownership in my fight to target is going to go to that favorite in Munhoz. I do like him a lot as one of my favorite targets this week. But on the other hand, Hall's win condition is also going to score very well. Munhoz, whereas he probably will get those takedowns and that ground control and that submission attempts really early in the very first few rounds, you got to keep an eye out on it because Munhoz has seen to slow down. If Uriah Hall is one thing, he's able to carry a decent amount of power, or at least he used to. And I do think that this fight finishes one way or the other. And for that reason, I want to have ownership on both sides. If Uriah Hall wins this fight, it's most likely by knockout. And at 7K, that is definitely going to be optimal. That is the fight I'm targeting the most this weekend, aside from the Riddell and Turner fight.
I like it. 3 good fights there. Monk, how about you? Any of those 3? And then what's yours to target here?
I love those 3. I had at least 2 of them on my list of 4. I'll give you Lawler and Barberena. I don't know how this one goes the distance. If it does, both guys are going to be, staggering around and probably bloodied. I just think, someone is going to get TKO'd here, not KO'd, but, a referee stoppage. The Barberena side is actually pretty decent. Guy scores 3.62 points per minute and 96 when he wins. But the main reason I'm targeting this is not only the inside, it's according to Computer Monk, it has a 51% chance of finishing inside the distance, according to their previous fight history. But they both give up a ton of points. Barberena gives up 101.88, almost 4 points a minute. And Lawler gives up less per minute, 3.17, but 110.5 when he loses. This is over 9 UFC losses. So it's safe to say when Lawler loses, he gives up a ton of points and does get finished. I believe, we have 7 of 15 total. 15 total UFC fights, UFC losses for these 2 guys have finished inside the distance. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this one. I see, a round 2, possibly a late or round 3 stoppage, with the winner, possibly getting into that triple digit. So at 8,500 and the best, statistically best salary to play out of all salaries, 7,700, especially for underdogs, I should say. I will definitely be targeting this one, Lawler and Barberena.
Sounds good. And yeah, what a fun fight that is going to be. Gordo, did you wave? Or who are you waving at?
Oh, no, I was just saying, okay, I like that play.
Oh, I thought you did like a little wave. Okay, I got you.
No
All right, we'll move on to our fight to fade, and we will start with you, Gordo. What is your fight to fade for this week?
Oh, I get to go first. Well, there's one option that's definitely drawn my attention. That is going to be the Macy Barber versus Jessica Eye fight, in my opinion. I just don't think that both these girls have the opportunity to go out there and exceed the people around them. I mean, Jessica Eye, whereas she does put up a better opportunity to score when she's not getting head kicked, the Macy Barber price tag at 9.1K is way too wide, in my opinion, putting out 76.54. And I mean, she got a few knockouts in the past, but anyways, I see this going to decision most of the time. Macy Barber's probably going to grind it out. And that being said, will not probably score very well in the process. When you're sitting at 9.1K, you got to surround yourself with Volkanovski, Munhoz, O'Malley. It's really hard for you to go out there and exceed everybody around you. And for that reason, it's just a complete fade for me. I do think that there's a lot of possible finishes on this card, and this is one that I'm just avoiding in terms of any real GPP opportunities for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And there's not another one I can really give. I mean, I'm not fading the Volkanovski fight. I'm not fading the Strickland fight, O'Malley, Barberena. I mean, there's so many great fights to target on this card. I think it's got to be that Macy Barber. Like, I'm not paying $9,100 for Macy Barber. And, Jessica Eye, although I think this could play out somewhat close, I'm still not excited about playing Jessica Eye at 7,100. So, yeah, it's going to be a big fade for me here as well. And I really couldn't think of a second option. Weezy, is there anything else you'd like to fade on this fight other than that one?
Yeah, I'm going to go Adesanya Cannonier. I think it's a good way to get different. I don't see much grappling upside in this fight at all. And both guys are scoring less than 2.25 Draftkings points per minute over huge sample sizes. And Izzy's $9,400 salary will be difficult to get to this week. It feels like a safe main event to fade to get a little bit different because I think Adesanya wins this fight, but if it goes 5 rounds and he wins a decision at 2.25 points per minute, that's 44, about 85 points in a win. That at 9,400, that's not going to be good enough this week. So I really do feel like that's a good one to fade to get different.
Sounds good. I like it. Monk, how about you? What is your favorite fight to fade this week?
I completely agree. That was my one and pretty much only fight is the main event. Like, I'm riding this one again. 9,400 for Israel Adesanya. Thank goodness DraftKings makes their salaries based on the lines because if anyone with any actual history or would do their homework, there's no way Izzy would be more than like 86. Like Weezy said, guy scores 2.29 a minute, 87 when he wins. And when he wins by decision, and remember, he's been in more 5-round fights than 3-round fights, 77.43 per decision. 54 if it goes to split. I mean, the guy scores 109.67 when he wins by knockout, but that hasn't happened since Paulo Costa 2020. I just like Weezy said, I think this one goes to decision. The Cannonier side, he scores 90 when he wins. Both these guys' average value is well under 10. I'll be on the Cannonier side if I'm playing anyone for GPPs. This is a untouchable fight for cash, in my opinion, unless you really have to pay 94 for Adesanya. There's so many other options out there. But the one good thing for Cannonier as far as GPPs, he's coming in 1182 under his average salary, but there are no numbers here that I like. I mean, Izzy, 45% of his wins in the UFC are over 90. He's only put up over 110 and 18% of those. I think that's 2 fights. So yeah, this one's a big, easy fade for me, the main event.
Yep, I don't hate it, and that's going to be a nice transition into our fighter to fade. And I did go with Israel Adesanya, 9,400. I thought you guys broke it down pretty good, and kind of how I see this fight playing out. I think it's going to be a slow-paced fight where Adesanya kind of sticks on the outside and just picks apart Cannonier for 5 rounds probably. I think this probably even does go to decision. If it doesn't, honestly, it might even be a Cannonier knockout. But Adesanya, I see it being slow-paced. I don't see it being any takedowns. I'd be shocked if there was a takedown really from either side here. Don't think there's a ton of finishing upside. So yeah, 9,400. I mean, I'd rather go and get Volkanovski for 400 cheaper. I'd get O'Malley for 100 cheaper. I'd get Munhoz for 200 cheaper. But yeah, I just don't really see much reason to play Adesanya here. And on top of that, he's going to be high owned as well since he is the main event. A lot of people know who he is. Pretty easy fade there for me at 9,400. Monk, who is your favorite fighter to fade for this week?
To add to your list there, Macy Barber scores more points per win than Israel Adesanya does as well. So 88 points to 87. So just keep that in mind. If you're fading Macy Barber and you're playing Israel Adesanya, I have questions for you. But we will get to my fighter to fade. I'll keep it short. Brad Tavares. I mean, short of a random knockout, this guy is a favorite salary at 8,200. His DraftKings numbers are some of the worst on the entire card. Scores even less than Izzy does, 2.23 a minute, 71.6 when he wins. This is over 14 UFC wins. He gives up more than he scores, 2.34. And when he does lose, 104 points is what he scores. I am in no way looking forward to rostering Brad Tavares, maybe outside of the 10, 15% knockout chance possibly. And depending on his ownership, I guess you could find leverage there as well. So keep an eye on that ownership. But in a vacuum, there's no way I'm playing this guy. 14% of his UFC wins, he scored over 90. I think one of them, he scored over 100. That is it. Give me the Dricus Duplessis side. But yeah, I'm big fading Brad Tavares and his lack of ability to score in DraftKings.
Yep, don't hate that whatsoever. Weezy, how about you? Who is your fighter to fade for this week?
I'm going with Macy Barber this week. Macy is scoring just under 3 DraftKings points per minute, which is exactly what I allows. And even if Macy wins this fight by decision, at that rate, she scores about 75 DraftKings points and at a $9,100 salary. That doesn't really get the job done. In addition, Jessica Ai is very durable. She's only been finished once in 9 UFC losses, and it was by the good Shevchenko, the best fighter in the division. Nobody else has finished Jessica Ai, and you got to keep in mind, look, Jessica Ai is in close fights all the damn time. I thought she'd beat Chookagian, but she's always there. She's always pressuring. She throws a ton of volume, and the judges are terrible. So be very careful. If you don't think a fighter that's juiced up to 9,100 in DraftKings and women's MMA is going to finish her opponent, you got to be very careful about paying that salary because it's most likely going to be in those judges' hands, and that is an awful place to be. So especially when you're paying 9,100. So I kind of feel like Macy's a really safe fade this week.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Gordo, how about you? What is your fighter to fade for this week?
Yep, talked about Barber. Monk talked about Tavares. So third one down the list for me is Jessica Rose Clark, and purely just due to I'm not going to say just a trust thing, but she's definitely one who I don't see putting up that high of a score in the first place. I know, and she does have a decent matchup here in Stoliarenko, a girl who does give up 4.08 against her opponents, but it's just that I don't really see her finishing Stoliarenko. I think that her path to victory for Jessica Rose Clark is going to be a decision. And with that being said, Other than that one finish victory she does have, she's never scored above 100 points. And when you're looking at the people around her, there's so many good GPP plays that she's definitely not one I'm really getting around to. Also, when we're looking at Jessica Rose Clark, her fight IQ is questioned last time out. And at every time it's going to be a grappling exchange, which is where Jessica Rose Clark gets a lot of her points, we're going to be sweating our asses off, right, with that armbar at every 5 seconds. So she's not really one I want to go out there and target proactively. A lot better options, especially at that price range. But you guys killed it already. Macy Barber, Brad Tavares are the two I'm fading as well.
Sounds good. I like it. Let us move on to our favorite dog. And yeah, I think there's a lot of dogs that stick out, but not really one that really like jumps out a ton. I'm interested to get what you guys have to say. We'll start with you, Monk. Who is your favorite dog for this week?
I'll give you the B side of the fade I just talked about, Dricus du Plessis. I know he's only has 2 fights in the UFC. A lot of people on Tavares this week. I am not going to be one of them for DraftKings. $8,000, so he is still an underdog, but the most expensive one, but still easy to get to. 5.82 points a minute is what he's put up so far in 10 UFC minutes. 109 is what he's averaging per win. He's 300 under his average salary, of which he gets you an average value of 13.16. His defensive pace, one of the best on the card, 0.99 points a minute is what du Plessis allows. Let's see. He is, I haven't figured out a name for this. I know in baseball there's a term like a 5 category player or something. I can't remember. Maybe the chat can help me out. But Dricus du Plessis is one of those guys. He scores in all 5 main categories, 2 points a minute in striking, almost 2 points a minute in knockdowns, 1 point a minute in takedowns, 0.29 in control time, and half a reversal point per minute. This guy's putting up points everywhere, no matter where he is, no matter where you're getting him. As far as the fight goes, he is able to score. So I love the offensive upside here from du Plessis. I think it's off the charts. And until I'm shown a reason, why I shouldn't roster him, I'm going to put the underdog in my salary at $8,000. Is going to open up a ton of space for those upper 9,000 guys.
Yep, I will definitely be talking about him a little bit later. Weezy, who is your favorite dog for this week? And I have a feeling I know which one you're going with here.
Yeah, man, I think you're right, dude. It's going to be Sean Strickland. And it's a big if, okay? But if Sean decides to be a mixed martial artist instead of a boxer here, I think he can look like a very, very solid play this week. Even with Sean's limited wrestling thus far, he's scoring 3.15 DraftKings points per minute, and Pereira has allowed 1.63 DraftKings points per minute via the grappling only thus far in his 2 UFC fights. I have Sean down as Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, so I feel his sub $8,100 salary with his big experience, strength of schedule, and grappling advantages that Sean can get you a dominant win here as an underdog. And plus, I think his pressuring style, if he pressures like he pressured Uriah Hall in the first round of their fight, I think it could actually be very close on the feet as well. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for saying that. They say Pereira is the best kickboxer on the planet Earth, but when you crowd the kicker and you throw a ton of volume, it makes it very difficult for them to be technical and to use the length and reach advantage, which Pereira very much has in this spot. So I think it's a good matchup for Sean, and I think it's going to give him an opportunity to show his versatility here. I think he's going to get this win, you guys.
Yeah, and by the way, I was watching that Sean Strickland interview today. I mean, something's wrong with that guy, but man, if he wrestles, he should absolutely shave ass. For me, yeah, like I said, not a ton of dogs I really love. I guess I'll go with Bryan Barberena here at 7,700. I just don't really get this price tag. I feel like this should be the fight that's priced 8,200 to 8,000. I feel like this is a very close fight. Robbie Lawler, 40 years old. Bryan Barberena, 7 years younger. Both guys are just going to stand in the middle and bang until one man falls. I think Bryan Barberena in a win has a decent upside here. I mean, this guy in general lands 5.61 significant strikes per minute. We saw Nick Diaz go out there and land like 150 significant strikes combined just in the first 2 rounds. Why can't Bryan Barberena do the exact same thing? So Bryan Barberena, don't really get the price tag. I feel like it should be a lot closer. 7,700, I like it. Gordo, how about you? Who is your favorite dog for this week?
I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. I'm taking my guy away to the bank. Max Holloway, 7.2K. I don't care if he's in cash or GPP. This guy has one of the best outputs that we've ever seen in the UFC. He's got so many records, and I can talk about his numbers forever, or I can just tell you that he's got one of the highest floors, and he's a 7.2K dog. I mean, this guy's got great durability. I know a lot of people are talking about him potentially finally being cracked, but until I see that for myself, until I see him getting Tony Ferguson, knock on wood, I don't think it's going to happen, I have to keep backing him. His floor is super high. He scored 40 and 50 points, has lost 2 losses, and you add in the win and his potential changing of styles here, he could definitely put up 10 times his value, no problem. If you think that he got robbed last time and he won that controversial decision, boom, there's 10x his value right there. I do think that this guy definitely has the great floor for 7.2K, and if he wins, he definitely has a chance to be optimal. I really like him, but if we're looking at other dogs, I'll not talk about them later, but I respect the ass shaving of the week on Strickland Weezy, but Holloway's going to be my guy.
Sounds good. I don't know who's saying like Holloway's going to get knocked out. Like, what a weird take. This guy's absorbed 1,800 significant strikes and still hasn't went down. And that's kind of been the narrative for like the last couple of years. Like, he's taken so much damage. Yeah, that's kind of what he does. So I like that. Gordo, I think, is a great dog. I'm going to have a ton of them. Let us move on to our favorite GPP play, and I will let you kick this one off, Weezy. Who are you liking for tournaments?
This is an easy one for me. It's Jalin the Tarantula Turner. This dude is an animal, man. I have no clue how he makes 155 pounds. If somebody can tell me how you could be 6'3", 155, and have muscle tone to your body, I don't know how that works. But if I ever hit 155 pounds, I'd surely be 6 feet under the ground, because like that's when like the decomposition would probably have to happen for 3 months before I actually hit 155. He has unreasonable length, big power, fantastic grappling efficiency. And he's scoring 4.63 raw DraftKings points per minute thus far. And he's the 4th most likely fighter to win inside the distance on this slate, according to Vegas. Yet he only has the 10th highest salary. Fitting him into your lineups will be super easy, and the finishing potential here is huge.
I like it. I'm going to have a ton of Jalin Turner this week. For me, I'm actually going to go with Sean O'Malley at 9,300. And the reason being is Pedro Munhoz eats punches with his face. This guy's absorbing 6.09 significant strikes per minute. And you watch this guy, like, he is very content to just eat punches with his face all day. And Sean O'Malley dishes out over 8 significant strikes per minute. I think Sean O'Malley puts a clinic on Pedro Munhoz. I think everything that Sean O'Malley throws is probably going to land here. So although I don't see Sean O'Malley getting takedowns, and I don't think a finish is all that likely, I think it maybe could happen with how hittable Munhoz is. But I think over the course of 3 rounds, Sean O'Malley is going to put up some video game numbers here against a guy who just has terrible striking defense. So I like O'Malley, 9,300. I think he has some serious upside with all the strikes he's going to land on Pedro Munoz's face. Gordo, who are you liking for GPP this week?
Yeah, I think that the Jalin Turner hype is definitely coming with me as well. I think he's a great play at 8.4K, huge GPP potential, everything that Weezy mentioned. So if I'm going to get a bit different, I say I would get a bit different, but I know Monk talked about him as well. I got to look down to Dricus Du Plessis, $8,000, 100% finish rate. The guy's an absolute killer. I know that Tavares has shown some decent defensive tendencies in terms of his grappling defense and takedown defense, but there's one thing that Tavares has been known to do, and that's being knocked out by certain people coming up and coming in the ranks. And Dricus Du Plessis carries power for a lot of that. So his win condition scores very well. I'm loving Dricus in GPP plays. I mean, he puts out an insane amount of points when he does win, and I think he has the advantage of both the feet, the ground, and the power. And for that reason, I'm taking my boy Dricus at 8K. I love him as a DFS play.
Absolutely. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for GPP this week?
Love those plays, but I have one clear guy in my head, and that's going to be Alexander Volkanovski at $9,000. I don't think the value gets any better than that, honestly, and the stats back me up here. He's only 264 over his average salary somehow. Average value of 12.6, and that's over 11 wins in the UFC. That's the number 1 value on the entire card. Also, phenomenal score, 4.24 a minute, 3rd best out of all fighters with at least 3 UFC fights. 110 when he wins, that's 2nd best. He only allows 1.79 points back at him, the best number on the card. 10 of 11 wins over 90, 7 of them over 100, or maybe even 8 if my math is correct. Also, another one, a 5-category score. And guys, that's such a big deal to me, because as I'm going over these stats, a lot of fighters have 3 they score, in striking and takedowns and control time, but they're missing the knockdowns, they're missing the reversals, or they're missing something. Volk scores in every category per minute, all 5 of them, with top 10 numbers across the board. Max Holloway's numbers are fantastic, but his defensive numbers are a little suspect. He gives up 97 when he loses. Let's see, 50%. So 3 of his 6 UFC losses, his opponents have put up over 100 points. So this is the kind of stuff I'm looking for when I'm looking at Volkanovski. Plus the last two fights. I mean, we could spend all day arguing who won which one, blah, blah, blah. But if you take out round by round scoring, the stats say that Holloway, Volk 1 was very close. An ass whoop index of 2 for Volkanovski. 0 is perfectly even. The second fight, he had an ass whoop index of 6, meaning he put more stats on Holloway than Holloway put on him, very simply speaking. So he's getting outstruck in both these fights as Holloway. He's getting out taken down, and he's getting out controlled. So, I mean, I'd be kind of foolish to not put Volkanovski in my lineups based on the clear history that we have, the 30 minutes of fight time history that we have, 50 minutes of fight time history. So $9K for Volk, I'm thinking, is fantastic value here.
Sounds good to me. Let us move on to our favorite cash play, and I will kick this one off. My favorite cash play is going to be Max Holloway, 7,200. I mean, this is just such an easy call for me for Max Holloway. This is a guy that is extremely durable, never been knocked out, never been knocked down. The guy's absorbed almost 2,000 strikes at this point, and at the very least, I think this fight goes to decision. I think it's competitive. Max Holloway landing over 7 significant strikes per minute. I think he puts up a really big score, even in a loss. So I like that for cash. But if he wins this fight, he is going to score a ton. So love me some Max Holloway. I think he has a really good floor, and I think his ceiling is extremely high as well for 7,200. So give me some Max Holloway, and I do like the fight as a whole to stack and cash this week. Monk, who is your favorite cash play for this week?
I'm going to go with somebody who I think should absolutely roll, and that's going to be André Muniz at 9,200. I think this is an easy smash cash game spot. He's made the optimal in 1 out of his past 2 fights, scores 3.5 points a minute, 96 when he wins, an average value of over 12, and he's fighting 37, almost 38-year-old Uriah Hall, who really didn't look like he wanted to be in there after about 3 minutes against Sean Strickland. And you take out the Chris Weidman fiasco, I mean, he's beat Anderson Silva in 2020, so that's not really on my radar for, I mean, it's a great name, that's for sure. But as far as the actual fight, I mean, we can safe to say Silva was past his UFC prime at that point. Got smashed by Shoeface, and then his only other win in his last 5 is Bevon Lewis, who's not been in the UFC since probably that fight. So I'm definitely looking to fade Uriah Hall and smash Muniz in cash games. He averages 103 when he hits a sub. Which has happened 3 times in the UFC so far. I believe it's 3 in a row. Yeah, 3 straight. There's no I love André Muniz here. I won't go on and on about it, but it's also has a lot to do with fading Uriah Hall.
Sounds good. Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking for, what are we on?
Cash.
Cash. Yeah, cash. There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be Volkanovski for me. 4.25 raw DraftKings points a minute, and over a 25-minute fight, that translates to 136.25 points in a decision win, 106 in a decision loss. Now, he's not scoring like that against Holloway. In his 2 wins against Holloway, he scored like 94 points and then a little over 100, I believe, in the other one. So, but Alex even showed the willingness to wrestle more last time out against Zombie. He's a minus 200 favorite, and he's scored at least 94.2 points in both of his wins over Holloway thus far. At only 9,000, I feel like he's a very safe play to score around 100 DraftKings points this week. And if he does that at 9,000 in a cash lineup, that gets you, that's a great free square for you. And then if you get, your underdog right, then you're in business.
Heck yeah, I agree. And then Gordo, how about you?
I mean, I hate to keep repeating what you guys are saying, but the cash play is a fight in its whole, and that's Volkanovski and Holloway. That is the cash play. Even if you want to stack them, I think you put them both together, they get at least 140, 145 points if you stack them, in my opinion. I think it's a super, super fun fight. I completely agree. I think it goes all 5. And that being said, the volume that they put out there, the output, the grappling upside that Volkanovski has, the volume, when we know that when Holloway sees someone hurts, he pounces, he doesn't let up. All this stuff that leads me to believe that this is going to be a fun, electrifying fight. There's nothing more I can add, no more numbers I can say. It's just with a 5-round fight like this, with so much volume, so much output, both these guys are very, very live in cash and definitely be stackable.
I like it. Let us move on to the favorite value play, and we will start with you. Gordo, who are you liking for some value this week?
Some value. I know we talked about him already, but for me, it's Bryan Barberena. I mean, 7.7K. It's so cheap. I mean, don't hate on me for this. I was so close to making this guy like a pretty big play. I know they're both old, but Barberena, I think, has the advantages in a lot of areas. People are hating on him for some recent losses, but Lawler's not going to go out there. He's not going to wrestle practically like Witt. He's going to be able to brawl. They're going to have a huge fight. And I think that Barberena, while he just had a recent one with Brown, is more able to accept that damage, push forward, clinch, throw the volume throughout the whole fight, have power in his hands. And I really think he puts out Robbie Lawler, 7.7K, way too cheap, tons of value on Bryan Barberena.
Yeah, I like that one. That was a close one for me, but I actually went with a guy we've talked about quite a bit, a guy that's going to be super popular, rightfully so. Dricus du Plessis, 8,000, and there's some serious value on this guy for many reasons. The first one is being he's now like minus 140, minus 150 on the money line, so he's priced as a dog on DraftKings. I think for that reason, people are already going to gravitate towards him. Another reason people are going to gravitate towards him is because he's starting to have some hype on him. People are excited about this guy, and rightfully so. This guy has a 100% finish rate. He's never seen the scorecards. He's dangerous everywhere the fight goes, has a ton of power in his hands, and he showed that off his first two UFC fights. I think he does finish Brad Tavares here, who has been knocked out 3 times, and I think he does put up a big score. 8,000, just way too cheap here for Dricus du Plessis. Weezy, who are you liking for some value this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gabe Green here. Wow. I guess Weezy likes him too, man. Gabe Green at 7,400. Not only is Green a solid DraftKings player already, he's scoring 3.8 raw DraftKings points per minute. So I believe that would be 87 points in a decision win. It's very good. He also has the right style to give a tall fighter who manages range well, like Garry, problems. Gabe marches forward. He's got a solid chin. He throws tons of volume, and he's got great cardio. Even in a loss, he has a solid floor as long as he doesn't get flatlined here. Gabe's wrestling defense hasn't been good thus far, but Garry hasn't attempted a takedown at the UFC level yet. So if Ian doesn't go that route, I think Gabe's a really nice value at 7,400. And even in a loss, he probably gets you, a decent amount, probably close to 50 points.
Yeah, I like it. A fight we have not talked about yet. And I do lean towards that Gabe Green, 7,400 myself. Monk, how about you? Who's your favorite value play this week?
I love all those picks so far. I love the Gabe Green especially. Max Holloway. Just because I know we talked about him, but I've spent a lot of time talking about Volkanovski, so I should give Holloway what he is owed. $7,200. This has to be one of the best value spots imaginable. He's made the optimal in both of his last 2 fights. Scores 3.5 a minute, 105 when he wins. He's $1,500 under his average salary, guys. This is never going to happen again. Maybe short of Holloway's retirement fight in 20 years or whatever. Average value over 10 when he's knocking people out, 112. When he wins by decision, the best number on the card, 106.02. Again, a guy with a ton of 5-round fights. This one is no different. I don't need to go on and tell you about why Holloway is a good play this week. Everybody knows his stats. Everybody knows he's the former champ, and this one is going to be a banger. And there is absolutely a road where I see Holloway winning this. And if he does, there's 1% chance he doesn't make the optimal at 7,200. So give me Holloway for the potential insane value here at 7,200.
Absolutely glad you mentioned him because rightfully so, man. Should be a very good fight to target. We have our dart throw. I have a couple that stick out, so I'll let you guys go first on this one. We'll start with Gordo. Who is your dart throw for this week?
Well, I got a couple as well, but based on pure ownership, people overlooking him, I will have a bit of a dart throw on Ian Garry. And this is strictly because a lot of people I see are on Gabe Green. It's a guy who people expect a lot from Garry, and they haven't gotten that. And for that reason, he's cheaper than he should be, in my opinion. No matter how much value people think they have on Gabe Green, I do think that Ian Garry is a better fighter. I do think he wins this fight at a pretty high clip. Green, where he's able to walk forwards and recover and somehow survive these fights, and he has no striking defense, and he's not really a minute winner, in my opinion. Sure, he's going to pressure, but people forget that Yohan Lainez almost killed him. And if we lined Lainez versus Garry, I'd probably take Garry there as well pretty convincingly. So I do think that just purely based on the low ownership that Ian Garry is going to have, then he definitely should go out there and do very well. We look at a guy in Gabe Green who gives up 4.19 points per minute anyways. I think it's going to be a fight that people are more so on the dog, and for that reason, Gary's going overlooked, and for that reason, he's my dart throw this week.
There you go. Can argue that he definitely is going to be going overlooked at that price tag. Weezy, who are you liking for a dart throw this week?
Yeah, great low-owned, high-upside option, in my opinion, is Donald Cerrone this week. Everybody's forgotten about this dude, and everybody's kind of assumed that they know what is in his heart and that he's basically quitting. I think if you look at this fight in a vacuum, you assume you're getting a very good Jim Miller, and you assume you're getting a very good Donald Cerrone. I think Cerrone should be minus 200. He's fought and beaten the better brand of competition. He's taller. He's longer. He's the much better grappler, in my opinion, because not only can he get takedowns and get submissions, but the dude's got 90% takedown defense. So if you want to be the guy who wrestles Cerrone, not only are you going to have a very hard time taking him down, but as soon as you take him down, he's going to be threatening with submissions. So, frankly, and Cerrone's definitely the better striker here. The line is where it is, and the prices are where they are, admittedly, because people think that Cerrone's done. And if they're wrong about that, leaving this guy off on your bench this week would be a huge mistake at 7,500 because he's a much better fighter than Jim Miller is everywhere. The difference is that I tend to agree with what the narrative out there is saying is that, yeah, if there's one guy who's done, it is probably Cerrone. But if he's not, at 7,500, man, he's a great value.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, if we get the best version of each guy, Cerrone would be that minus 200 favorite, and stylistically his matchup's really good for him. So we'll see what happens. In an interview today, he did say that he was kind of drinking beer and stuff after his fight got canceled with Joe Lozon. But if he shows up, man, he could very well win this fight. It's definitely a good way to target there. For me, like I said, there's a couple that stick out. I think, Stoliarenko armbar from guard, that's going to be low owned. I'm actually going to go with Uriah Hall, 7,000 going against André Muniz. I don't think anybody's going to have Uriah Hall this week. We got to remember he has a ton of power, and Muniz has been finished 4 times, all 4 by knockout. Muniz also a very questionable gas tank. He's finished his last 3 fights in the first round. If this fight is to get extended, what does the fight look like then? I think Uriah Hall could potentially get a knockout here. I am definitely on the Muniz side. I think Muniz takes him down and finishes him. I think he's the first one to sub Uriah Hall. But if this fight does get extended, or if Muniz wants to test his striking out, Uriah Hall could definitely give him his 5th knockout loss. So I don't want some Uriah Hall, 7,000. Monk, how about you? Who is your dart there for this week?
Man, it is pretty slim, and I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but I guess Julia Stoliarenko. It was between her or Munhoz, if you could see in my head the war that's happening in my head right now. But I guess I'll give you Stoliarenko because of her opponent. I do not think Stoliarenko is going to win. I don't think she's going to catch that armbar, but she is facing JRC, who loves to get caught in armbars almost as much as Silvana Gomez Juarez does. So who knows what's going to go on there. Yeah, that's literally the only positive thing I can say about her. She's 0-4 in the UFC. She scores like shit. She gets hit a ton or gets scored on a ton, and she's over her salary. So, God, maybe I should. Julia Stoliarenko by armbar is a complete dart throw. She might be negative. She might have negative ownership this week. So any spot you put her in is a possible leverage spot, even though I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it could happen. These women's MMA favorites have just been dropping the ball left and right lately.
True.
But let us check our lineups for last week, guys. If you guys have not already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports. We go live every Wednesday. So make sure you are subscribed to not miss us. If you guys have any questions in the chat, be sure to ask them now. We'll get to them shortly. But last week, we have Gordo in 4th place with Umar Nurmagomedov, 104, Shavkat Rakhmonov, 111, Tsarukyan 58, Vieira 38, Christos Giagos 3, and Demopoulos 70 with a total of 387.19. Third place, was Weezy with Rakhmonov 111, Tsarukyan 58, Moises 101, Cody Durden 112, Tafan and Shukwu 1.2, and the Nate Maness with 9 with 394.95. And second place was me, Umar 104, Shavkat 111, Tsarukyan 58, Vieira 38, Giagos 3, and then Gamrot 106. And then in first place is Monk with Nurmagomedov 104, Shavkat 111, Morozov 78, Tafan 1, Rodolfo 38, and then Gamrot 106. Congrats, Monk. You got it done.
Man, I feel like that that meme. It's been 84 years since I've gotten a win on this show, but I tell you what, it feels good. Even though Tafan really tried to screw a couple of us over, still got it done. Thank you, Mateusz Gamrot. I feel like I should thank him personally for numerous reasons, but yeah, that was probably the one that put me over the edge there.
Yeah, there you go. Good lineup there, Monk. And we'll take a look at our totals through 21 cards. And fourth place is Monk with 8,691.45. And third place is Weezy with 8,813.89. And second place is me with 8,976.32. And then first place is Gordo with 9,400 9,549.82. Looks like I'm 573 points behind. Weezy is 735 behind. Then Monk is 858 behind. So we're still behind. Gordo, and you still have a decent lead there.
You guys are closing that gap each and every week. I'm telling you. I was doing a live stream last night, and I heard that Monk was the one who cursed me, apparently. I don't know why.
I think I said something about you said if you haven't won the Iron Man because you're winning here, so I was trying to hex you on here, and I think that's what it was mentioned about. So hey,
hurt my
I got to do what I can.
No,
Salary voodoo is real, and I use it against real people. That's what you don't know about me.
I'm the victim.
So Gordo still has a decent lead, but Gordo, we're kind of closing up. So hopefully you get it together this week, and you don't want to be in last place because the loser does have to dye their hair sugar, Sean, rainbow. So watch out. You do not want to dye your hair sugar, Sean, rainbow right now. Monk, you are in danger of that.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough look for me, especially because my hairdresser is probably not as good as his hairdresser. So who knows what it could look like at the end. I look like fucking Bozo the Clown over here with this clown pewter.
There we go. You'll get it, Monk. All right, so we'll do our lineups for this week, and I will kick us off here. I don't think anybody's gonna have this lineup, so I'll just go for it. We have Volkanovski, Holloway doing the stack there, Duplessis, Jalin Turner, Sean O'Malley, and then Bryan Barberena. Weezy, do you have your lineup for this week?
Yeah, I'm going up top with O'Malley, then Volkanovski, Jalin Turner, Dricus Duplessis, Sean Strickland, and Gabe Green.
There we go. We're pretty close there to away. Gordo, how about you? What do you have for this week?
They're close to me, man. We're going to take Barberena, Duplessis, Holloway, Munhoz, Turner, and Adesanya.
There we go. And then Monk, how about you?
I'm going André Munhoz, Macy Barber, Alex Volkanovski, Dricus Duplessis, Sean Strickland, and Jared Cannonier.
All right, there we go. And then we will give our quick picks, and then I don't really see any questions in the chat. But if you have any questions, guys, type them in there now. But we'll give our quick picks, and we'll start with you, Weezy. What are your quick picks for this week?
Okay, I'm going with Adesanya by decision. I'm going Volkanovski. Sean Strickland is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. We got Bryan Barberena, Sean O'Malley, Jalin Turner. I'll pick Cerrone for the hell of it, but I'm not betting it, you guys. Ian Garry. I'm picking Tavares over Duplessis. Munhoz, Barber, and Jessica Rose Clark.
Sounds good. For me, I will go with Rose Clark. Give me Barber. Give me Uriah Hall. No, give me André Munhoz. Give me Dricus Duplessis, Gabe Green, Jim Miller, Jalin Turner, Sean O'Malley, Bryan Barberena, Alex Pereira, Volkanovski, and Adesanya. Gordo, how about you? What are your picks for this week?
Well, we're taking Adesanya in the main, Max Holloway in the co-main, Sean Strickland, Bryan Barberena, Sean O'Malley, Jalin Turner, Jim Miller, Ian Garry, Dricus Duplessis, André Munhoz, Macy Barber, and Jessica Rose Clark.
And Monk, how about you?
Very similar to Gordo here. CM Monk's picks: JRC, Macy Barber, André Munhoz, Dricus Duplessis, Ian Garry, in the closest line fight according to the stats: Jim Miller, Jalin Turner, Sean O'Malley, Robbie Lawler, Sean Strickland, Alex Volkanovski, and Israel Adesanya.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we did it. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Be sure to leave a like on your way out. And then Weezy, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week. I believe you are going live pretty soon here, 2 hours, with Chronic Combat Conversations.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be on that channel, Chronic Combat Conversations. Come check me out. We're going to break down this entire UFC 276 card, and it is an absolute banger. I was thinking maybe I might do an Ask Weezy tonight, but I think I might be just absolutely exhausted. So maybe tomorrow night, maybe I'll do something on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. I don't know. But you can also check me out on the MMA Engine YouTube channel tomorrow night with my man DFS by the numbers for probability, where we're going to give you a data-driven look into all the over-under and fight goes and fight doesn't go lines on this card. And there are some ones sticking out. So you're going to want to tune into that. And then also, you can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday for Stat Diggers, every Saturday for the Watch Along, and every Wednesday right here for the DFS show, and Uncle Weezy's YouTube channel as well. I work too hard. I do too much content. If you can't find me out there, that's your problem.
100%. Gordo, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, mad respects to all you guys for putting in all that work. I filmed my video earlier today, so it should be out, let's say tomorrow, but maybe in a couple days to be safe. I got to get it out there as soon as I can. But you can find me on YouTube at the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I also do weekly videos on the Current MMA YouTube channel. And then it was fun last week. That's why I'm wearing the fancy hat. I think I'm going back on Liam Picks Fights YouTube channel tomorrow night for a late night live stream. Even though I work at 5:30 in the morning the next day, we're going to do a midnight live stream. That should be fun. And then I also did a prop drop show where I talk about prize picks, Thrive Fantasy, Underdog, all that on, once again, the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. But if you want to know my full plays, at Gambles Gordo on Twitter. And good luck to everybody this weekend.
Sounds good. And Monk, how about you? I know you've been putting out a ton of content throughout this week as well.
For sure, you can check me out on my YouTube channel, Monk Maddox. I have a game theory video out where I break down all 12 fights from a DFS perspective, pretty stat heavy. And then also on the MMA Engine, Salary Voodoo is out, and several other things as well on that channel that you're definitely going to want to be interested in leading up to Saturday's card. Also on, I was going to promote this show that I'm currently on. That would be weird. Friday, happy hour with Monk and Lou on the MMA Engine. And then after that at 7 p.m., I am super excited to be on Fight IQ with Chris and Joe over there on the RotorWire channel. That's happening 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 Eastern. Very excited for that one. So I'll definitely be all over the YouTubes for the rest of the week.
There you go. And you can find me tomorrow on the MMA Engine for Probability with Uncle Weezy. Back on Friday on the MMA Engine channel as well for the live stream after the weigh-ins, and then back on DFS by the Numbers YouTube for Best Bet 1 hour prior to the prelims. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the Numbers. Leave a like on your way out, subscribe, all the good stuff. Best of luck, guys, for UFC 276. It should